in Ramat Beit Shemesh?
I have a son, Gershon. He lives on Nachal. What's the Nachal Lachish, and one in Gilo.
Good morning, everybody.
Lower neighborhood.
Ready to go? Are we ready to roll? All right, Rabbi Sai. Good morning, everybody. Hold on, Lauren. Oh. All right, we're ready to go. Rabbi Sai, we're ready to roll. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back, all the chutznikim. I see we have Fischel on. I hope we have Leon somewhere from South Africa. Today is 8 days in the Omer. Hayom Shmoni Yomim Sheim Shavua Echad V'Yom Echad Ba'Omer or La'Omer, however you do it. This beautiful design is made every single day by Nehemiah Seltzer, right? Nehemiah it is? I hope so. Yosef, unmute yourself for a second because you just told me about 5 minutes ago about the loss of your somebody.
My cousin's husband's mother.
Your cousin husband's mother. Okay, what's the name?
But the cousin is a very close cousin of mine.
That's Yosef Biliak, everybody, the one who's in charge, does a lot of stuff for the shir, sends out the 8-minute daf, takes care of all the sponsors, etc. So what's her name?
Her name's Helen Birnbaum. It's Ruchama Hinda Bas Rachel. I don't know the father's name.
Okay, fine. Today's shir is being sponsored Lili Nishmas Stefan Weiss Ben Chana. That's all we have. This is the name. It's an amazing story. It's a beautiful thing. I'm going to read an email here. It's his third yard site. People are mamish tzadikim. Okay. You know what? Let's do this. Okay, what do we have? To find that email somewhere in here. Oh, dear Rebelli, I haven't missed your full shir on YouTube since the first day of brachas. I've been meaning to send you an email to thank you for all that you've done and continue to do on behalf of the shir, but I'm going to save that email for another day. Instead, I ask that you acknowledge the yard side of Stefan Weiss on Friday, 23rd of Nisan. Stefan was a Holocaust survivor who lived in survivor section of Re'ut Medical Center in Tel Aviv. My wife and I met Stefan when we toured Re'ut several years ago. Stefan died in 2017 without any family to remember him. My wife and I decided to honor his memory by sponsoring the Kiddush at Rosh Hashanah's yard side. It's beautiful. They don't know him, they're not family, and they took this person on. Unfortunately, because of the coronavirus, there's no Kiddush to sponsor this year. Instead, my wife and I are sponsoring Friday's shir in honor of Stefan's memory. May his memory be a blessing for all of us. Thank you. So when they called up Re'ut, they didn't even know the guy's name. So his name is Stefan Weiss. They don't have his Hebrew name. So his Neshama Shanav HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows who he is. Keith Reich, White Plains, New York. So we got somebody from White Plains. Beautiful. Let's see, what else do we have here today? A lot of stuff, but I want to read one. Here we go. This one says like this. Hi, Rebelli. I'm listening to your Daf Shir on a daily basis. Started this cycle on brachas. You impacted my life in many positive ways. If you give me permission, I would like to point out something I said on Daf Lamed Zayin, I mentioned in this year. You bring real life to so many people. Thank you. Please, this is not for public reading. With gratitude and health for you and family, good mayid. So then I wrote him. I said, why not? Why can't I read it? I said, I won't mention your name. So he says, hi Eli. Sure, I have no issues if you read it without my name. I'll explain to you why I'm so careful, because I don't want my friends in the community to know that I have internet access outside of the office. For myself, I'm so grateful that I can listen to all your full shiurim. I love your easygoing approach and hope that you'll stay with your humor and not slowly become too serious. So, lot. getting the beard. We're going to put on a frock soon. He says like this, I know a boy that listens to your daf and it keeps him Yiddish, as you are different than all the Rebbes in Minkach. Good Mayed. And he says his name. So, yeah, no, because my daughter was telling me that there's this show going around now of a girl that used to be very Hasidish or something, and then she went off the derech, and it's very popular, unfortunately. It's a very big show, and she was telling me that the reason is because she couldn't take that serious life, the shave the head, the whole thing, and I thought it's very, and this reminded me a little bit of it. He says, I'm not like those Rebbes in Minkach, meaning that there's some people out there that really think, and I know a lot of people like that, I have friends like that, they grew up a certain way, and they thought that if you're not 100% Hasidish, that's it, you can't be Oved Hashem. And if that girl just realized, hey, you could relax a little bit, there's other parts of Yiddishkeit, you could be Oved Hashem and not be that, she would still be from, but she didn't know that. She thought it's either this or just go off the derech 100%. I think it's a big shame. Hey, Elchana, what's going on? Elchana's back to full force? You're back to full force? Mamish makes my day to see. Mamish, Mechaya Mason, you could say Mechaya Mason, comes out of Corona, in the hospital, twice in the hospital, and he's back. Unbelievable. Okay. So that's that. So if you know any other Hasidic guys that want to become Litvish, Gronics, send them our way. Be happy to have them here. And if they want to stay Hasidish and Minkach, it's also great. Everything is great, but don't go off the derech. Rabbi Hashem Yerachem. We're holding Daf Mem. What's today's Daf?
Elchana, did you get pizza yet? Did they start the pizza shops yet going? Okay.
In America, it's a whole different story. It's $1,000 pies over there. Yeah, it goes to tzedakah, but the guy that owns the place needs tzedakah himself. So the kids cost $1,000 a pie. It says we're Daf Mem Beis Amud Aleph. Here's the question of the day. Something to ponder for the next 25 minutes or so. And don't think that you'll be a Oiber Chacham and understand from my question, because I'm asking it so you'll understand the answer. You're not going to understand the answer. Is there an issue whatsoever? You know, sometimes your wife makes a good soup on Friday night, and it doesn't taste ay, and when she goes back into the kitchen, you sneak a little bit salt and whatever, you fix it up. Is there any inyan or any issue whatsoever not to put that salt in the soup? We're talking about bishul here. Is there any sort of bishul when it comes to salt? That's the question we're going to discuss. Because most of us just take that salt and put it in there. We don't think twice. Maybe there's an issue. Even though it's a klisheni, maybe there's an issue. Have we ever thought about it? Says the Gemara, it says in the Mishnah, Aval Noisen, you could take water and pour it into a cup, a hot cup. Tanar Rabbanan, Noisen Adam Chamin L'Teichat Soinin. So, Beishamai hold that the bottom guy always wins. Tata Govar, the bottom one dominates. In other words, it's not like wrestling. It's the opposite of the guy in wrestling. Usually, it's the guy on top, I believe, that is the winner. The guy on the bottom usually loses the fight. But when it comes to water, the one that's in the pot first. So if you have hot water in a pot and then you pour cold water into it, the hot water is going to be mavashal the cold water as it comes in. But if it's the reverse, if you have cold water in the pot and you pour hot water into it, it's not a problem. You could pour hot water into the cold water. Shami say there's enough community between hot into cold and cold into hot. Because the bottom wins. So you have to know what the bottom one is. If the bottom one is cold, there's no problem to pour the hot into the cold. Tais goes into a little bit of, well, if it's a lot of hot and a little cold. So Beis Shammai hold that this would be usher to pour cold water into hot water, even in a klisheni. Yeah? We were learning the other day, and this is how Basil holds as well, Klisheni cannot be mevashal. No matter what, Klisheni doesn't cook. So they say it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you're pouring cold into hot or hot into cold. But Bisham say it doesn't matter. If you're pouring cold water into hot water, even in a Klisheni, that's also. But that's only also because of Xeri. Not because it could cook, but because you're going to confuse a Klisheni with a Kli Rishon. And tomorrow you're going to start pouring in cold water into hot water Kli Rishon. B'med dvar ma'amurim b'kois. Now, what's a kois? Everything is mutar. B'med dvar ma'amurim b'kois. So Rashi says there's two conditions here with the kois. First of all, you want to drink it. So what if you want to drink it? So in those days, it was kind of a reverse of what we have today, I would think. In those days, the bath was when you want water for bathing yourself, you want the hottest water possible, really, really hot. If you want it for drinking, not that hot. Today, I think it's a little bit reversed. Yeah, coffee is very hot, but the bath is cooler. But so first of all, you need it for drinking. So drinking is not that hot. And second of all, it has to be a klisheni. If you have those two things, that it's a klisheni and it's for drinking, then say Basil, it's okay, I don't care. Even if you pour cold water into hot water, and the bottom one, the one on the bottom is hot, I'm not concerned about cooking. Bati, but in a bath, said Basil, you're not allowed to pour cold water into hot water because it's a bath, and a bath you want it really hot, and I'm concerned that you're going to boil this water, you're going to cook the water. By the way, it's deafening in here. It's so quiet. I don't have mayor, nobody saying a peep. It's like I'm talking to myself. I don't know if there's a single person listening to me.
I see mayor on the back. I see mayor on the balcony.
Mute everyone if you want.
Hey Gary, Gary, I was just trying to wake the Olam up. Don't take me seriously. Oh, I need to. By the way, just so there's a major problem going on with YouTube. I think it's YouTube. I hope it's YouTube. Maybe.
YouTube, Eli.
How do you know? Other people are going through the same thing?
No, but it's nothing to do. Also, when I checked, I would upload something that happened. So.
It literally takes 12 hours to upload a shir when it used to take 2-3 minutes. After shir was uploaded. And everybody's calling in, and a guy wrote me a whole long email. Please don't stop YouTube. Why are you doing this? I love it. Da da da. Relax. We're not stopping YouTube. What are you saying, Mordechai?
YouTube has this thing where it's not that the video is not uploaded, it just hides the video. They do it for certain people, I don't know why. The video is there, so if people get the link, they can see it right away. I was able to watch yesterday's video.
So it's something with us. We're in trouble now with them.
With YouTube. It's YouTube's own thing.
But we're going to be like that forever?
Who knows?
Okay. It's not good.
Eli, the link works right away.
So could you watch it, for instance, you can watch it on Torah anytime right away?
Yes.
Okay.
Anywhere that uses the link can work, you watch it right away.
Okay, perfect. Let's go weiter.
And anybody that has a subscription also can watch it right away.
Okay. I just see these emails coming in and people complaining. There's something going on with YouTube. Reb Shimon ben Menasya Oyser. So Reb Shimon ben Menasya comes along and says, even hot water into cold water is usher. We're going to understand what Reb Shimon ben Menasya is saying. What is he talking about exactly? Reb Nachman, halachic Reb Shimon ben Menasya. So just understand that the halacha is like Reb Shimon ben Menasya, that even hot into cold is usher. Savar Rav Yosef Lemeimar, Sefel Hareu Kembati. What's a Sefel? Sefel. There we go. A wash basin. Yeah, this is from Pirush Chai. It didn't come with the fish. I just added it just for a little color. A wash basin. Now, what's going on here? I would think that an ambati, a bath, you need the water to bathe, and to bathe, you don't have to talk all the time. It's fine. What happened?
We've got a question, the same question here about taking a bath in Shabbos. We just had the past couple of days we don't do kol gufos. Why is this even an issue that we're discussing? Taking a bath.
What?
In the chats, a number of people are asking.
Who unmuted you? What's going on here?
I asked that they unmute them because we're asking the same question. You know, noticing the question, I'm asking the question. The past few days, we've had discussion of Aver, Gufo. Now slowly we're discussing putting water into Ambati, but if you're not taking a bath, why is it even a discussion? That's the question.
You want to know if yesterday we discussed only Aver, according to Rav, only Aver. What's going on here? So, Noisin Adam Cham Toichat Soinen. Now we're talking about a klisheni here. We're talking about maybe Panav Yodav Raglov, whatever it is, whatever is mutter on Shabbos, according to whatever you hold.
Or maybe it's for a chayla.
No.
Wow. There are ways to do it for a chayla as well.
Who said? I don't think that for chayla you have to go crazy and do all this stuff. No. Bein chamen l'tzoinen, bein tzoinen l'chamen. What do we come out with at the end of the sugya? Timeout. We're talking about the Mishnah.
So that you could shower. That's how we came out in the sugya.
The what?
You could shower, but you can't bathe.
Yeah, but the part of the other viraglov you're allowed to.
Right.
Part of your viraglov. So you're saying that ambati is not? Who said he's putting his whole body in there? Because it says ambati.
For sure.
No, ambati is a kli rishon. Ambati is a kli rishon. It doesn't say what he's doing. You understand that ambati is a bath? I don't know.
Yeah, it's taking a bath.
No. First of all, it goes like this. There was different gzeras also. Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel were before that gzera. So yes, at the end of the day, you have in the time of Rav, whatever, they made a gzera, you can't take a bath. But you're allowed to take a bath from water that was heated up Erev Shabbos. What are you shaking your head? No. All right. But whatever the situation is, in any way that you're allowed to do it, this is how you do it.
Someone just referred to, Tomer just said, look at Tosfos Aval.
You're not allowed to look at Taisus in these days. Okay. No. Taisus, we're not going with Taisus. Taisus argues with Rashi. Rashi says it's a Kli Rishon, Ambati is Kli Rishon, Taisus says it's Kli Sheni. Don't look at Taisus. Fine. So we're holding by a seifel. A seifel is similar to a bath because he's trying to bathe himself. And bathe himself, we said before, you want really hot water. So I would think that a sefel is a problem. It's not. So B'kitzur, a sefel is a klisheni, and a klisheni doesn't have an issue, and I could pour in even cold water into hot water. So that's that for a second. So we have ambati, which is a problem. We have a sefel, which is a klisheni, it's not a problem. And we have a cup that you're drinking from, and that's a machlokes. If you're allowed to pour in the cold into the hot. But for a minute there, we had a havamina. We thought, let's talk about the havamina. Now, the way I learned it, this is just a havamina, it doesn't really go to maskana, and that's how Taisus learns. But it seems like Rashi actually takes this seriously. So, if this wash basin is like a bath, and memela what? You're not allowed to pour in cold water into hot water, and then all of a sudden Reb Shimon ben Manasseh, and we passing like Reb Shimon ben Manasseh comes along and says, you can't even pour in hot water into cold water. In other words, there's no way to pour any water into any water. Halachic Reb Shimon ben Manasseh, Ela b'Shabbos v'chitz b'chamin leka. How in the world do you wash your face on Shabbos? See, Rashi's talking about a face here. Panav Yodav Ragla. How do you wash your face on Shabbos? You're allowed to wash your face on Shabbos, but how do you get that water? Because, right, it's either 100% hot. Imagine our faucet burning hot without any cold water, in our days even. You wouldn't be able to wash your face like that. Rashi says you would have to add a little cold water to any hot water you have. It's way too hot. So Mela, how do you add cold water to it? If you're using a klisheni, and even in a klisheni, you're not allowed to add any cold water or hot water to cold water. Either way, you're not allowed to do it. So how in the world, technically speaking, how do you get to water that you could wash your hands, face, and feet with? Says Gemara, Reb Shimon wasn't talking about a bath at all. According to this, you have to say that Reb Shimon was talking about the cup, drinking. That Beis Hillel say it doesn't matter when it comes to drinking water. You could even put cold water into hot water. That's not cooking. And he says, no. Tata govar, the bottom one wins, and therefore that's considered cooking. Putting cold into hot is cooking. But what about a bath? A bath, even hot into cold, would be usr. Says the Gemara. So you just said that Reb Shimon ben Manasseh is just mimicking Beis Shammai now. When it comes to drinking, like we started off the sugya, that you're not allowed to put in cold water into hot water. That's Beis Shammai shita when it comes to drinking water. And we don't. And the halach is like Reb Shimon ben Manasseh. So what? So the halach is like Beis Shammai. It doesn't flow well. Says Gemara, no, we're going to have to say that when it comes to drinking water, even Beis Hillel agree you cannot put in cold into hot. So is that the halacha or not? For me, it would seem that the Gemara started off saying, only in the Havamina, how do we explain it? But at then we went away from it. But it seems like there are some Rishonim that learn that this is a maskana. This is how we do it. That according to everybody, when it comes to drinking water, you cannot put cold into hot. So, but this is the halacha right here. Rava says when it comes to klisheni, a mana, klisheni, he didn't care whether you put cold into hot or hot into cold. Either way, he was okay with it. There's a brisa that says, just like Rava, that I could take a flask of water, of cold water, and dunk it into a hot pool. So he didn't care. Even if this flask was very cold and he put it into a pool of hot water, it's fine. What's the raya from this case? There's a kli, there's an outline, the glass absorbs the heat, so of course it's not going to cook. That's not how we read the brisa. Well, we read the brisa is this case right over here, where he literally poured the water, the cold water, into hot water. And that the brisa says is okay. So Mela, why? Because this is a klisheni. And klisheni doesn't cook. And it's okay. And that's how we paskin. Ma'ara adam kidin shamayim techsefel shamayim ben chamin techtzoinen ben tzoinen techamin. It's okay. Fine. Confused? Not confused. Rabbi, I was thinking about this. Unbelievable. We had these difficult sugyas. The first daf akira was pretty difficult. Then the second half, at least it was difficult to explain for me to give over the shir. And I see like there's a little bit of confusion. Cold, hot, cold, da da da. So there's a guy in our shul I'm very friendly with. His name is Meir Koenig. And his father, Mordechai Koenig, he built like 1,000 units in this neighborhood. He was a very wealthy person and he lost all his money. This happened like 20 years ago. And the day he lost all his money, I don't know the day, but he decided that's it, he's going to start learning. And the guy learns, 14, 15 hours a day nonstop. And every single week now, he makes a siyum on the entire Masechta Shabbos, Gemara. Every single week. He made over 300 siyumim on Masechta Shabbos. We're like struggling through this one time. He did 300 siyum. It's unbelievable. I love this guy because he was a real estate guy. He sat down to learn. It's unbelievable. 300. That's besides all the Daf Yomi that he does, and he learns 7 daf a day, and he does chazaras, the whole thing. He's up the whole night. I don't know when he sleeps. It's a beautiful thing to see. Anyway, just thinking about it. We struggle through these struggles. He learns it. He learns it slow. It takes him from Thursday to like Muktzah Shabbos kind of thing. He puts in a lot of hours. But since he knows it so well, he's able to do it. Zok the Mishnah. Ha'ilfes v'agdeira she'vira mirt. What?
He's given Mayor all of his WhatsApp time.
Be'ezer Hashem, Meir will join him. Meir is learning. He's the one that organized the Israeli shir, and he learns every day. He has Chavrusa Yaakov. I know he learns with him at least once or twice a day now because of this. He's a big Baal Chesed Meir. He has this guy, this divorced guy that lives by him or used to live by him, but they live very close now. So anyway, fine. Meir is Meir. We get all our news from Meir. All the news in the neighborhood comes from Meir Kenning. That's what Avi was referring to. Says the Mishnah, Ilfas v'agdeira. These are large pots, a pan that go directly on the stove. Shehevira merutachim. You remove it from the flame when it's at least yatsi ledes, 104 degrees, 114 degrees, however you learn, or Chazanish, or some Zalman. So now we're learning Daf Mem Beis, Amud Beis. We're learning about cooking spices. So you're not allowed to add spices to something that just came off the flame. It's a kli rishon, and a kli rishon will cook your spices. But you could put a spice into a kli sheni, meaning your bowl on the table, or your serving dish, your tamchui. I'm reminded, this is a terrible story. I should really say this story in somebody else's name, but it happened to me. My wife invited her best friend for Shabbos. Her husband went to Eretz Yisrael, so she came to our house for Shabbos. For some strange reason during the meal, my wife pulls out this dish, and she asks me, it's a serving dish. She says, Eli, should I serve the cholent in that dish? I'm like, not in that dish. It's hideous. It's disgusting. Why would you serve cholent in that dish? And she's like, well, Bluma gave it to us for Shabbos. Anyway, so I just thought it was, fine. It was my wife's fault, not mine. The toicha tamchui, if you have a serving dish, it doesn't matter whose dish it is, that serving dish wasn't directly on the flame. It went from the flame into that serving dish. The serving dish is on your table. What's that dish called? A kli sheni. Now you want to add salt. Not salt. Time out, not salt. Salt was the question we had on soup. You want to add spices, you want to add garlic, whatever, you could do so. We have some sort of picture here from the Pirush Chai. What you see here this is the kira that we're familiar with, and this is the gdeira and the ilfas, the larger kalim that come directly off the flame, so they are a kli rishon. From the ilfas and the gdeira, it doesn't matter which one, these are larger kalim, you put it into your tamchoy and your ka'ara. And then you can add spices, the guy's adding spices to it. You could put spices into everything. The Gemara is going to explain what he's talking about. Is he talking about this case of a kli sheni, or he's talking about the beginning of the Mishnah of kli rishon? He's putting in spices, chutz medavar sheyesh bechometz v'tzir. Besides something that has a very strong, sharp taste to it, and acid to it, like vinegar and fish brine. Because then the vinegar and the fish brine, they will cook up your spices. Forget about the heat of the dish. Just to explain what Rabbi Yehuda is talking about, Rabbi Yehuda Reisha Kayu L'Kula. Does Rabbi Yehuda say you can put spices even into a kli rishon, provided that you removed it from the flame? It's no longer on the flame. If it's on the flame, it's going to cook from the fire. So you had this ilfas, you had a large pan, you take it off the flame, you could add spices, says Rabbi Yehuda, on condition it doesn't have vinegar in it. Oh, maybe he's talking about the sefer where it says you could put spices into kli sheni. Comes Rabbi Yehuda says, no, you shouldn't. You shouldn't put anything. You shouldn't put any spices if it has this what do you call it? The chometz, the vinegar. Tashma, the Sari Rabbi Yehuda Omer, no, it's a kula. L'kalul fasanu noisein. Anything, and Taisus points out right away, you could put spices into any kind of pot as long as it's not in the flame. Roitchois, boiling, meaning yatziledes, you could put even yatziledes or even more. Besides if it has vinegar and the brine. So he's coming to be mekel. The Tanna Kama holds you cannot put spices into kli rishon. Rabbi Yehuda says you could put spices into a kli rishon. Now what do we do about salt? Salt, we have it at every meal. What is salt? Says Rav Yosef, melech hareu ketavlin. Melech, salt is one of the spices. It's no different than garlic and paprika, any way you want to call it. It's all the same. Salt is one of the spices. The kli rishon bashla, it will cook in a kli rishon, and therefore you cannot introduce salt into a kli rishon. You can't just pour it into the cholent, even if you take it off the stove. And once you take the cholent and you put it into your serving dish, you can add as much salt as you want. According to Rav Yosef, savar lemeimar. He thought to say this. So now we have Rav Chia, he says a statement. Salt is not a spice. Now there's two ways to understand Rav Chia. But salt is not a spice. Either salt is much more sensitive than a spice, and it will cook even in a klisheni, and therefore I cannot introduce salt into a klisheni. I can't put salt onto my cholent if it's in the, once it's in my plate, it's probably klishlishi, but not into a klisheni. Or I can learn the opposite, that it's not sensitive. It's the opposite of sensitive. It's very, very difficult to cook. And even in a kli rishon, it won't cook, and therefore I could put it into a kli rishon. You hear that it's mikatzel katza. It's the two extremes. Either salt is so sensitive that I cannot put salt into a kli sheni because I'll cook it on the spot, or salt is so hard to cook that I could put it even into a kli rishon. I could put it in where I can't put any other spice. I could put salt. Says the Gemara, melach eino ketavla. Salt is not a spice. The beklisheni nami bashla. Salt is different than all spices, where all spices I could put spices into a klisheni. Once I remove, what's a klisheni? The actual pot that I cooked is called a kli rishon. Once I pour it into another vessel, anything, a bowl, a serving dish, then that thing is called a klisheni. Let's say coffee. I take hot water out of the urn. The urn is a kli rishon. I put it into my cup, it's a klisheni. That's still problematic with coffee because klisheni could still cook. So I take it and I pour it into another one. I make it a klishlishi. Upligi the Rav Nachman, the Rav Nachman, sricha milcha bishula kibisra the Torah. Rav Nachman says that salt is so difficult to cook. It's like bull's meat. MMA what? According to Rav Nachman, I can take salt and toss it into kli rishon. I don't have an issue because a kli rishon will never cook it. It takes a very long time to cook it. So we have a machlokes between Reb Chia and Rav Nachman according to this lashon. Reb Chia says salt is so sensitive, will cook immediately even in kli sheni. Be very careful, don't put it into kli sheni. Says Rav Nachman, no, the opposite. I could put it even to kli rishon, it's not a problem. Some say it goes differently. Rav Yosef starts off saying salt is a spice. This doesn't change from the first lashon. Salt is a spice, therefore kli rishon, don't put it into kli rishon, it'll cook it. Kli sheni, you could put it in. This also doesn't change. The words don't change. Salt is not a spice, but the meaning is different. What do you mean it's not a spice? The kli rishon nami loy bashla. Salt is not a spice because it's so hard to cook that you could introduce it into kli rishon. V'hainu d'amar Rav Nachman. This coincides exactly with Rav Nachman. Tzricha milcha bishul kibisra de Torah. So if you see, there's an aleph over here, and this is the halacha. It's paskin la halacha that salt is very hard to cook, and therefore you could put it even into kli rishon. Okay, why? Why do we paskin like that? So Taisus explains because it makes a lot of sense to say that Rav Nachman is exactly like Reb Chia. There's no machlekes. Rav Nachman who says that it's very hard to cook salt. Like the meat of a bull will coincide with the Reb Chia that salt is not a tavlin, meaning it's much harder to cook than a tavlin. It's much harder to cook than a spice. However, I'd like to point out a Tosfos over here. Tosfos Dibra Maskil V'hainu de Rav Nachman, it's the wide lines, almost by the beginning of the wide lines, but at the end of the Tosfos. Tosfos says, Umetoich kach, 2 lines from the end of Tosfos. Umetoich kach pasuk Rabbeinu Shmuel shemuter loseis melach betavshel b'Shabbos. V'afilu b'kli rishon. She'aviroi min ha'ur. As long as you remove it from the flame, you're allowed to put salt into a pot that's a kli rishon. Why? Because it won't cook. It's very hard to cook. Now, v'amachmir, and this is the shita of the Ramah. The Ramah says, v'amachmir kalishna kama. And if you hold like the first lashon in Reb Chia, shaloi litin melech bekara kozman shayatzi ledes boy, tavai olav bracha. Says the Ramah, since there's a shita of Reb Chia that salt is so sensitive, it'll cook even in a klisheni. So if your soup is very, very hot, you shouldn't put salt in your soup to be machmir like that shita. And if you are, tavai olav bracha. So it would stop right there, really, and say, okay, now we know new yisoid, that I'm not stalling. Somebody said I'm stalling. Hashem Yerachem. I'm reading those things on the bottom over there. 116 people. Yesterday was very weak, but now we have the chutznikim. Do we have Leon on? I miss Leon from South Africa. Anyway. So you could say, okay, halacha l'maisa. You come tonight, Friday night, you tell your family, by the way, I just learned a new halacha, to a lot of us, you should probably not add salt into a klisheni. Maybe our soup is already klisheni. No, but if you take a ladle from the pot and you put it directly into your bowl, your bowl is a klisheni, and according to this Tosfos, tavei olav bracha, if you don't add salt, tavei olav bracha. Now,
I think that's only if it's a davar gush.
What do you say?
2 things. First of all, I think that's only if it's a davar gush, and so it still has a din of a kli rishon, even in the kli sheni, not if it's soup. And second of all, the ladle, which is what everybody is commenting also, depends. If the ladle's in the soup for long enough, that remains a kli rishon. Right, that's what I just said. So ladle should be a kli rishon. Now, what you're saying is a little different. You're saying if you add salt...
The ladle is going to be the kli sheni.
No, the ladle is a kli rishon if it's in the pot. It becomes like the pot. It cooks up with the pot is on the stove cooking. So you're saying that the ladle.
I don't think that's universal. I think that's much, I guess.
It makes sense that it should, but fine, yeah. Let's just say that it's not. But what Noam is saying, Noam is talking about something else. That if you add a tavlin, you add a spice to a large piece of food, you take a spice and you put it on a piece of meat. Meat has the ability to cook because it's salad. But if you're putting into soup that has meat in it, chicken in it, I don't think it's what you're saying is correct over there. But anyways, there's another issue that I don't know if Rabbi Schoenberg has what to say over here.
The salt is cooked.
That's what I wanted to talk about. So I don't know what the halacha is exactly today. Maybe I bet you Rabbi Schoenberg has what to say on this. Rabbi Schoenberg, could somebody unmute him? Because salt today is not the salt. Salt is already cooked. The way they make it today, I think. So I don't know. I mean, if you take salt out of a cave, that's one thing. But if you take salt from the ocean, that's pretty much what we have today, so it's probably different. Right? Rabbi Schoenberg, no?
Yes. There's a difference between sea salt and salt which is mined.
Yeah.
Salt which is mined is done by pumping boiling hot water down the mine.
No. And that doesn't cook the salt? That doesn't cook it?
Yeah, that cooks it.
So even mine salt is cooked, you're saying?
Sea salt is dried in the sun.
So sea salt is a problem, is what Tosfos is talking about?
Yes.
And mine salt is not a problem. So what do we have today? What do we eat today?
A lot of these Israeli salt is sea salt.
So sea salt is a problem. Tavei olav bracha. According to Rabbi Schoenberg, Israeli salt is sea salt, so there is tavei olav bracha if you don't add it to your soup. Okay, so that's new to me. I don't know about you, that's new to me. It's a halacha l'maisa. If you don't add salt, you tell your wife, I would love to add the salt, but tavei ala bracha. But what you could do probably is maybe move it to another bowl, and then it becomes a kli shlishi, and then you should be able to add it. Then I'm not a paisik, but I think that should work. No? Anybody?
Why
No.
do you have to be so? Why do you have to be so machmir?
Why not? Oh, you're saying that the ladle is a kli sheni.
Yeah, yeah. You're going around and around just to avoid putting salt into your soup. Why tavala bracha for being machmir?
Because there's a sheet in the Gemara that says that salt is something that cooks even a kli sheni. According to the first Reb Chia, salt cooks in a kli sheni, and therefore you have to be extremely careful with salt. According to that Reb Chia, the second Reb Chia says, the second Lashon Reb Chia says, no, it's very hard to cook salt. So just in case the first Reb Chia is right, says the Ramah, and we're Ashkenazim, we go by the Ramah. You could put it in, but if you don't, tavei ala bracha. You want brachas. Instead of going to Reb Chaim Kanievsky, you don't put salt in your soup and you get a bracha. That's it. It's hard to go to Reb Chaim now with all the quarantine. So you get a bracha in your house. Says the Mishnah, Ein noistim kli tachas haner lekabel hashemen. This is a ner, and here's the wick. I guess it was kind of common for oil to drip down this way. So the problem now is muktzah. We're talking about muktzah. What halacha does this oil have? This oil is muktzah for a number of reasons. First of all, you are muktzah. The word muktzah means you put it out of your mind. You said you don't want to deal with it on Shabbos. So on Erev Shabbos, Ben Hashmashas, when you put this oil in here, you said, I'm done with this. This is going to be used for my lamp on Shabbos. Therefore, you're muktzah that oil. Second of all, this oil is muktzah because it's a basis l'davar asur. Third of all, it's also mechaba. Yeah, it's a basis. It's holding. It's carrying the weight of this wick. If you remove this oil on Shabbos, you're over issa d'oraisa of mechaba. You're extinguishing the flame early. So then you're not allowed to touch that oil because it'll be mechaba. So it's muktzah. So if you put this bowl before Shabbos, not that big of a problem. According to Tosfos, it's certainly lechatchila. The only thing is, don't touch that oil. Don't use it on Shabbos. But if you put it on Shabbos, you try to save your tablecloth from the spilling of the oil, that's a problem. Why is that a problem? So Rashi brings two reasons. Basically, we could jump into Rashi, we could see it inside. Rashi kli tachas haner lekabo by shemen ametaftef, dripping oil mishum the shemen muktzah, shemen, the oil is muktzah. Because savar, reason number one, ein kli nitol b'Shabbos elo letzorch davar hanitol. I remember learning when I learned Shinches when I was very young. There's like a common rule. Everything is muktzah basically. This is muktzah on Shabbos. The reason I could move it is because I need it. But Rashi says even more. You cannot move a kli on Shabbos unless you're using that kli for something that you can move on Shabbos. You cannot use a non-muktzah kli like this cup to help something that's muktzah. That's number one. Inami kosavar also tata kli mehechanoi. You're being mevatel a kli mehechanoi. Lahoisha kli b'makom shelo yuchal oy litla misham tabekuvele makom mechaber betit. Unbelievable. Rashi says, now what's happening? You're going to take this perfectly non-muktzah bowl and put it underneath the oil. It's going to catch oil, and as soon as it catches oil, you can't move the bowl anymore. So you were just over on boina. Unbelievable. You built this bowl into place. You just cemented it to your table because you can't move it anymore. Mevatel, that's another thing. Mevatel kli mechanai. Destroying a kli, it has usage. You can use it for your soup. Now you can't use it anymore. Fine. So that's why you can't do it. Tosfos on top of Mem Gimel and Aleph points out, the Rashi somewhere else says that it's breaking the kli. You had a perfectly good kli, now you're breaking it. So it's almost like a contradiction. Over here he says you're building the kli. Over here he says breaking. So I think over there he explains that over here he's using it for a good purpose, for a creative purpose, to save oil. So that's building. Over there, he's doing it for another reason, that's breaking. Fine. I'll call upon him. Says the Mishnah weiter, Ein noisnim kli tachas haner lekabel bois hashemen, v'im nosnum b'yoyim mutter, and if you did it Erev Shabbos, it's mutter, v'ein noisim meno, but you can use it, l'fi she'ein noim muchon. This wasn't oil you were able to use ben hashpashos. Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Chizda. Ava b'shalom rein noisim kli tachas tarnagoylos lekabel beitzasa. So I have a very similar case. You have a chicken laying an egg. An egg is muktzah on Shabbos. Why? Noilad. So again, for the same reason, I cannot take my cup and catch an egg on Shabbos, especially nowadays. We understand the value of an egg, so I would love to save my egg and not have it drop directly on the cement and get destroyed. I'm not allowed to do so. Why? Because by doing so, I'm building this kli in its place. I can no longer move this kli. Same exact thing as the oil. But I could flip my cup upside down, my bowl upside down, and mark it so other people don't step on it accidentally. My time of the Rav Chizda. Why? Why could I, all of a sudden, I can move a kli to save an egg, but I can't put my kli underneath the egg? I can't catch the egg? What's the difference? Typically speaking, a chicken has some brain and it knows not to lay an egg on an incline because it's going to roll down the incline and be destroyed. So it would like to typically lay its egg on a heap of trash, a nice soft spot where it's not going to be destroyed, right? A typical pigeon is not going to lay an egg on a slanty roof. It goes, finds a nice flat surface. It understands that. So here's the concept, right here, these three words, Vahatsola mitsuya hitiru. And they said that something that's common to happen, you're allowed to save it. So I'm allowed to save something common. And now the Gemara goes, 5, 6 different things that are Hatsola mitsuya. They didn't allow to save something that's not common. So this oil that we have in our mission is not common, obviously. Because if it was common, I could save it. It's not common. In other words, even if it is common, it's not common that you're going to forget. Most people put their ner, they know that it's going to ruin their tablecloth, so they think about it beforehand. To come on Shabbos and say, "Oy, my tablecloth is going to get destroyed," that's uncommon. But Tanya, what do we do with this? A person has an entire barrel full of Muktzah wine. Why is the wine Muktzah? Because it's tevel, he didn't take Trumas and Maasros. He has nothing to do with it on Shabbos. He can't do Trumas and Maasros on Shabbos like we had in the Mishnah the other day. So he can't drink it, he can't do Truma. And all of a sudden it breaks. He's allowed to save the dripping wine. It's very expensive, an entire barrel. He's allowed to take another vessel and catch it. So the problem is, but this is Einei Matsui, how often does a barrel break? It's a Hatzolah she'eina Matsuya. Says the Gemara, Begulfei Chadite, brand new barrels, the Shchichi de Paki. In a brand new barrel, it is common. Next question. These are all the same type of questions, same kind of answer. It says in the Mishnah, later on, you're allowed to take a kli and put it underneath to catch sparks. Sparks are Muktzah. It's Hatzolah Mitsuya because it's Shchiach. Next one, Eisvei. I could put a kli on top of a fire so it shouldn't grab onto the beam. It's not a sakonis nefashos, obviously, but the beam is Muktzah. The low ceilings, the Shchiach bud, like every other day, another house burns down. We don't care. So, but because of that leika, I'm allowed to save my house. One last picture for today. So you have a beam that broke, like a rafter or something. So now I take my bench and I just put it there so that it doesn't break anymore. And once again, I have a problem. This beam is Muktzah. And it's not matzui. How often do beams break? New beams break. And one last one. It's in this picture. You see the rain coming in. I could put a bucket to catch the rain. Rain is Muktzah. Bevate chadete the shchicha the dalfi in the new homes, especially our kablanim. It's something very shchiach. Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful Shabbos. Shir Matzah Shabbos is 9 o'clock, and now for a very special rendition of Tehillim, Noam Fix.
Shir Malo
Ismi Mamakim Chosifadino Adonai Shema B'Kodim Teinos Derech Shuvos L'Kol Dachanonai Adonai Shmoya Adonai Miyamon Kimcha Slicho Leman Tivorei Zanu Gimson Nafshi V'Dvarei Chalti Nafshi L'Adonai Shomrim L'Boiker Shomrim L'Boiker Chayzol Adonai Gim Adonai Chesed Yavei Moedus U'Yivdat Yisrael Mikol Avnei Amen.
Fine on here.
David, fine. Is Yaakov? I haven't seen Yaakov. Where's Yaakov? Anybody see Yaakov one of these days? Yaakov is on YouTube?
Wonderful Shabbos, everybody.
Good Shabbos, everybody.
Really, you misunderstood that. Wasn't Chas V'Sholem saying you were scolding. I was saying if extra times you're using it wisely on Tosfos.
I didn't know who wrote it. Don't worry about it. I didn't know it was you. I just saw it flash on the screen. It was okay. It's good. Something to talk about.
I'm very happy when you stole. I'm not one of the guys who complains about reading letters. So.
Shkoyach.
I see that the article says differently to what I said about the salt.
Oh, it's the reverse?
Yeah, but I don't understand it. The article says that the mined salt is not cooked.
Yeah.
Sea salt is cooked. But I think in fact it's the reverse. Because the mine salt, they have boiling water down the mine, and then the sea salt, they dry it in the sun. It's not cooked. But
Yep.
Maybe in some places they do different.
But maybe in America. Maybe the article that was written in America or something.